Hello, welcome back to another PAP Reports. Today is Tuesday the 14th of January 2020, and today I thought I would start with an area that has already had some interest this week with this video. That's right, ladies, gentlemen, and in-betweeners, Yorkshire Police. And it just so happens we're going to be working our way across Yorkshire today, starting with both South Yorkshire and North Yorkshire. Both forces have recently revealed that although they were referred to the IOPC due to police contact with people who later went on to die, neither force will face any action. Now, one of these cases involving Jerry Apicella, who was found dead inside a property on Craganore Place, Denby, Main, South Yorkshire on the morning of the 15th of December, has so little information available it's impossible to say what actually happened. All we know is that 51-year-old Apicella was involved in a fight on December the 3rd in an alleyway with a group of teenagers. He then walked home, where he later died. His body was found on the 15th of December after concerns for his welfare were raised with the police. And after a post-mortem on the 16th of December, it was determined he had died from head injuries. Now, the force referred itself to the IOPC over its contact with the victim in the weeks before his death. However, I can't find a report anywhere that would suggest anything happened in the weeks leading up to his death. In fact, a Google search shows just 7 listings over 3 pages using the keywords Jerry Apicella's death. 4 of those listings belonging to the BBC on pages that no longer show any article. DuckDuckGo, however, shows Jerry Apicella's death on its first page in every listing. Unfortunately, like most MSM, they've literally copied and pasted each other's articles, so again, it's difficult to find any real information regarding this incident. What we do know is that 2 men, Shane Nicholson, 19, of Lincoln Close, Denby, Main, and Martell Brown, 23, of No Fixed Abode, and a boy who cannot be named for legal reasons, have been charged with murder over his death, and they will stand trial at Sheffield Crown Court later this year. The second case is of a 29-year-old Stephen O'Neill from the Wirral, who died in April 2019 in North Yorkshire after drowning in the Ouse during a night out with his brother, a soldier based in York. Stephen was said to have been one of 5 people who had died in York's rivers in 3 weeks. North Yorkshire Police said they were alerted by CCTV operators to suspicious activity on King's Staithe in the early hours, but on officers' arrival, a man ran off and a short time later entered the water. Stephen's mum, Sharon Scott, said she couldn't understand how he ended up in the river in the first place because he couldn't swim. It's said that a search was carried out involving York Rescue Boat and North Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service, and Mr O'Neill was recovered from the river just after 3 AM, where he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, I want to make it perfectly clear to everyone here that there is not enough evidence or information available to determine exactly what happened in either of these cases. Are they tragic? Of course they are. Could they have been prevented? Probably. Are the police to blame? Who knows? There's not enough information to say if they are. I can't say I accept the IOPC's decisions because they're not really independent and will only ever uphold a complaint they can't hide from. But without more information, it's impossible to say for sure. But I'm reporting it here, not to generate hate for them, but because it's still relevant to this channel, as people have died and there seems to be a serious lack of information that's being released by the police. And personally, I feel they could be a lot more open with the public, which of course will never happen. Okay, next we have a list. Yes, a list of 10 cretinous cops from West Yorkshire Police who lost their jobs in 2019. Although I think this list has been watered down a lot and is only mentioning some of the ones who got the boot based on the general behaviour of West Yorkshire Police. Even the RAG reporting this in the first place has tried to play it down by calling their sackable misconduct charges misdemeanours. Do me a favour. Misdemeanours, for those of you who don't know what they are minor wrongdoings. In other words, non-indictable offences. And why do these misdemeanours contain such charges as drink driving or perverting a course of justice? Anyway, fuck the rag that reported this with their pussyfooting around. Let's crack on. Now, some of these you may have heard me speak about in previous videos and some may be new to you. Special Constable Stephanie Gill. In February 2018, Gill failed to report or take any action regarding a potential criminal offence committed by a person with whom she had an inappropriate and or notifiable association. She continued with this association despite being told that this relationship was inappropriate and having claimed that she had ended the relationship. Gill resigned from the force and that misconduct charges were proved, and the officer would have been dismissed without notice had she still been a serving officer. PC Richard Sloan was alleged that while on duty, Sloan engaged in coercive and controlling behaviour towards his female partner. It was also alleged that he grabbed, pushed his partner on 3 separate occasions and sent her a message containing racist comments. The charges were proved and the officer was dismissed without notice. PC Judith Mulligan contacted police via 999 in September 2013 to report an attempted burglary at her home. 2 males were located nearby and were arrested on suspicion of attempted burglary. PC Mulligan picked out both suspects during an identity procedure, but later investigation revealed that she had been given sight of police photos of both the suspects before the ID procedure. The officer was later found guilty of conspiracy to pervert the course of justice and received a 12-month prison sentence, surprise surprise, suspended for 2 years. The charges were proved and the officer was dismissed without notice. Police Constable Nabil Fiaz was the registered keeper of a vehicle involved in speeding offences in June 2017 in South Yorkshire area and in July 2017 in the West Yorkshire area. It is alleged that on both occasions Mr Fiaz failed to furnish the correct details of the driver at the time of the offences. The charges were proved and a misconduct panel stated that the former officer would have been dismissed had he still been serving with the force. On the 13th of April 2018, police officers attended the home of PC Joynal Hannah, who was arrested on suspicion of assaulting his wife and criminal damage to a mobile phone. The officer subsequently appeared at court and was found guilty of assault and criminal damage. He was given, surprise surprise, a suspended prison sentence and made subject of a restraining order. The officer was dismissed from the force without notice. Police Constable Luke Sternburg on March the 11th 2019, whilst on duty, was stopped by police and after providing a breath sample was arrested on suspicion of driving a motor vehicle whilst unfit through drink. On the 28th of March, PC Sternburg appeared at Leeds Magistrates Court and pleaded guilty to driving whilst over the prescribed limit. He was disqualified from driving for 2 years and ordered to pay a fine of £400, costs of £85 and victim surcharge of £40. The officer was dismissed without notice. PC Mark Beardsley was dismissed without notice from his position as a Safer Schools officer and from the force for failing to investigate claims that a child under 13 had been having sexual intercourse. In 2018, a member of staff at a high school asked PC Beardsley to attend a meeting at the school in his capacity as a Safer Schools officer. During that meeting, PC Beardsley was told that a child under 13 had been having sexual intercourse. As a matter of law, such behaviour would amount in any event to the offence of the rape of a child under 13 and would give rise to a significant safeguarding risk. Even though PC Beardsley had been made aware of this information, he responded inappropriately. He failed to record the matters disclosed as a crime, failed to initiate an investigation into suspected offences, and failed to make any referrals, record intelligence, or take similar action for safeguarding purposes. Following evidence gathered during an investigation by the IOPC, the charge was proved and PC Beardsley was dismissed without notice. Police Constable Josie Bower. I honestly cannot work out whether to be surprised or amused at the lack of photos of these cretins that once supposedly served the public. On August the 25th 2018, whilst off duty, attended the Sun pub in Bradford. Following an incident inside the premises, she was ejected by security staff. Whilst outside the premises, it is alleged that PC Bower punched a female and was subsequently arrested on suspicion of assault. On May the 21st 2019, PC Bower appeared at Beardsley Magistrates Court and was found guilty of assault, ordered to pay costs, compensation and a victim surcharge, and made subject of a community order and a restraining order. The officer was dismissed from the force without notice. PC Robert Dovey attended a misconduct hearing for punching an arrested man. It appears that he punched the arrested man and then he moved the member of the public into another van to give him the opportunity to assault him further. During the transfer of the victim, the charges were proved and a West Yorkshire police officer was dismissed without notice. Detective Constable Ben Robinson was handed a suspended sentence in September after he started a sexual relationship with a domestic violence victim whilst investigating her case. Robinson, who worked as a police constable in Kirklees, admitted a charge of misconduct in a public office on the first day of his trial at Preston Crown Court. He was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years, and was ordered to pay £1,200 in costs and carry out 150 hours of unpaid work. His case was heard at a misconduct hearing where the discreditable conduct charges were proved, and had he not already left the force, he would have been dismissed. Well, West Yorkshire Police, I have a funny feeling that this year's misconduct hearings will trump those of 2019's based on what we've seen already this year. But the thing that greatly concerns me about these incidents is the distinct lack of criminal charges and punishment brought against the police staff found guilty of these offences. Offences that, in the case of a member of the public committing them, would certainly have been held more accountable in a court. And lastly, today we move on to something that will no doubt please many of you, although the sad part is that it's not already something that's been done. Detective Chief Inspector Pete Quinn from Nottinghamshire Police has recently spoken out calling for stronger sentences for people who download indecent images of children. DCI Quinn spoke out after a Nottinghamshire man got just 125 hours of unpaid work for having more than 50,000 indecent images. This included 51 Category A, which are the most serious, 69 Category B images, and 53,032 Category C images. Nottinghamshire Police Force is said to now deal with around 8 to 12 cases a month, with the largest amount of images seized from a single offender sitting at around 1.5 million. DCI Quinn did say it's quite rare to discover they are hands-on offenders, he added. They are people who have been drawn to this material by whatever means. Although for me as a normal member of the public, I think that this is simply a stepping stone to the more hands-on offending, so to speak. So although it may be rare that the people they track online have yet to take that step, in my personal opinion, I would say that it's the next logical step for one with a mind that thinks this kind of thing is acceptable. DCI Quinn also said, while the sentence might not reflect the crime, there are other punishments offenders are faced with. He said, most people accept people make mistakes, but a lot of families have a problem understanding why their dad, son, brother, it is exclusively men, did it and accepting what they've done. But for me, as someone who's reporting this and has children myself, I couldn't give a shit if somebody loses their family over this type of behaviour. Are the courts being lenient because the pervert got found out? I mean, if they are, then I would be asking why. These indecent images of children are rarely just accidental, and in most cases will mean the child subject to these pictures will or has been abused in the process. Therefore, why the hell should a pedo be allowed to receive a more lenient sentence when the poor kids have to go through their entire lives with the abuse as a life sentence for them mentally? In most cases, first-time offenders are actually given non-custodial sentences, but how can this be a deterrent to the sick and vile individuals who carry out this crime? DCI Quinn did say, however, that I don't want to criticise the courts or judges. I have to respect that. But if someone gets 125 hours of unpaid work from a public perception, does that embed a perception that this is not a serious crime? Well, DCI Quinn, I think that's where you've made a mistake. I think the courts and judges do need to be criticised. You can respect a system while not necessarily respecting those running it. And in this case, and in many cases of this nature, I feel that judges have been let off after giving sentences that would mirror sentences given to a 10-year-old chocolate bar thief. And I know many others, think it's disgusting, and personally think there should be a better system set up so that when a judge makes a ruling that enough people think is wrong, then it should be easier to overturn that ruling and have it looked at by another judge or a public review board, a bit like a jury. In 1701, in the Act of Settlement, judges in superior courts, higher courts, were given the right to remain judges as long as they exemplified good behaviour. Judges could only be removed from office if they were guilty of bad conduct. This is still true today, but for the vast number of judges this doesn't happen, and this gives them security of their job, meaning they can give lenient sentences for whatever reason they choose and can get away with it, only to be removed for very specific grievances, which unfortunately does not include unusual sentences for criminals. Unfortunately, in my opinion, while the government and the elite still control the judiciary system, the many unfair practices that reside within will continue. And what we need is a complete reform of the judiciary system. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other and film the police. Good night all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.